Hey there, hi, welcome to Taiwan, welcome to Northern Taiwan. Hello, how are you? Thanks for joining me. Is that Anna Perna? Anna from Russia, how are you? Hey Russ. I'm in Northern Taiwan. I'm actually just, it sounds really, maybe it sounds a little more exotic than it is. It is actually exotic. It's Taiwan. Taiwan is subtropical, tropical, it's culturally rich, it's absolutely amazing. Hey Colombia. But it's only this place where I'm at right now. It's only 20 minutes by MRT from Taipei City, the center of Taipei, but you're in this amazing nature preserve. Oh, that's very cool. Well, I'm glad you're watching. I get to show you some really cool spots here, and this is Beito Hot Springs District, and it's part of Yangmingshan National Park. And I said in my headline, I'm watching the earth breathe, and literally I am. And I'm going to flip the screen and show you. This is the hot springs here. Okay, so it's not a volcano actually, but there's volcano. There was volcano activity. This is over the Tatun volcanic group here in northern Taiwan, and this is part of the hot springs. But this water is way too hot to go into. I mean, you would literally scald yourself or burn yourself. It's almost boiling. And you can see some of the little springs. If I can see some more activity, I will show you. But this is the part of the hot springs district here, and it's called the Thermal Valley. And it's a very cool spot. It's free and it's really easy to get to. It's right around where the resorts are here, and the creek, and actually the creek below where I broadcasted from before. You can actually, you used to, I think you still can in some spots, dip your feet in there. But it's a very cool spot. I mean, it's just so inspiring when you see this steam coming up. This is the real thing. This is not somebody boiling a big pot of water. I mean, this is the earth breathing. This shows you that our planet is living. So thank you for joining me, and give me a shout out where you are in the world. Love to say hi, and please share the broadcast. I would so appreciate that. Swipe the screen left to right if you've got an iOS device, or swipe up if you've got Android, and share with your friends and followers. That would be totally awesome. And thank you for the hearts. I do appreciate that. It's John Sabot, FarEastAdvTravl. I scope from all over Asia. Currently I'm in Taiwan. I was just in Thailand last week. I was there for 3 weeks, and I am now in Beito Hot Springs District. Hey Jerome, man, how are you? Got to book my ticket soon. This is, we're in the lunch hour here. It's in the noon hour, and so there's not as many people here as normally. But this place does get quite crowded, especially on the weekends, because people from Taipei and northern Taiwan, they know about this place and they love it. It's easy to get to. So there's hot springs all over the island. Thank you so much, by the way, for sharing and inviting your followers. I really appreciate that. So, there's hot springs all over the island. There's some lovely ones on the East Coast that I visited before. But if you live in Taipei and New Taipei City, which is over 8 million people, it's not always easy to get out there. Even though the island's not very big, it's still with traffic and trains and things like that. So this is a really super convenient place for people to come and spend a night, or even you can just rent. There's lots of resorts around your hotels. You can just rent a hotel for. They charge, by the hour or a couple hours, and you can do whatever you want in the room. But you also have access to the hot springs, which they pipe into all of the rooms here if you're staying in a hotel. So if you get a hotel at one of the resorts here, and they have in all price ranges, and you can actually have your own personal hot spring, which is kind of cool. Am I hiring people to travel? Yeah, I wish. I'm hiring myself right now. Yeah, you could do some crazy things like jump in here and get a lot of attention and scald yourself. And I know some people would be willing to do that to get more hearts or more followers, but I'm not. Yeah, hire people to scope. Yeah, and this is northern Taiwan, by the way. This is Beito Hot Springs District, and we're kind of right on the edge of Yangmingshan National Park. It's a lovely park, by the way. Lots of hiking trails there, and people just don't know a lot about Taiwan, and that Taiwan has some really beautiful scenery and wild things too. Only 20% of the island is inhabited because of the mountains here. So thank you for joining me and sharing with your friends and followers. I really appreciate that. Joe, it's about Far East Adventure Travel in northern Taiwan. So as I was saying, you know, a lot of people don't realize that Taiwan has got so much nature and beautiful sights and things like this. Yeah, I know. I've been up and around. I haven't been scoping as much lately, but thanks for joining me. I do appreciate it. It's nice. You know, the other thing too is I just for the scopers that are watching, I don't know if you've been having the same issues with me, but sometimes I'll do a broadcast and it doesn't trigger on Twitter, so none of my followers will know that I'm on. So it's kind of a weird, wonky thing right now. I don't know if anybody else is getting that. I think this hot spring is 90 degrees Celsius, so you can't go in this water here. Periscope has been extremely, something's been really wonky. It's like Mother Nature's jacuzzi, absolutely. But this is, you know, these are the things that really, and I tell you right now, I am just sweating like crazy because it's actually quite warm here right now. We've got a bit of a break. I'm just going to go over to this waterfall, so show you a little waterfall and cool down a little bit. The sun is pretty intense here, and so we're getting some sunshine right now. When you're standing over that water, because of the heat, you know, the heat is so intense, it gets really hot. It's like being in a sauna. This is the little waterfall here. There's waterfalls all over Taiwan, by the way. Yeah, something funny is happening with Periscope lately. I don't know what's going on. It's very strange, but I'm glad you have joined me here. We've got a nice little group. So thank you so much for following me. And this is the Thermal Valley. It is called the Thermal Valley, and I'm in Beito Hot Springs District. This is a very interesting place. By the way, you can go to my Far East Adventure Travel Facebook page. Follow me on there. I do Facebook Lives on there as well. And I've been broadcasting from my Facebook page as well, and showing you more of this hot springs. But I'm actually here to record a podcast. So I've been filming a podcast. I do a video podcast on iTunes called Far East Adventure Travel. You can't go in. You're going to scald yourself. I mean, you're going to die if you go into this water. It's too hot, so it has to mix with cooler water in order for you to be able to enjoy the hot springs here. This is like right directly, you know, from the heat source. So you can't actually go in these. They're far too hot. You would hurt yourself or die. But there's a creek that this funnels out into, and the water's cooler, and you can definitely go into those. And of course, all of the hot springs, the pools around here, and the hotels, sort of, you know, you can choose the temperature that you want. But anyways, I've been broadcasting here on Periscope and on my Facebook page, and I'm putting together a podcast on this wonderful district. But it used to be a red light district at one time. Actually, you would never believe it from here. Now, this wasn't the red light district. This is nature, but this area was the American soldiers came here in the Vietnam War on breaks obviously from Indochina, and they set up this big red light district here. But they cleaned it all up. The MRT was developed in the 90s here in Taipei in northern Taiwan, so they extended the line out here. As I said, it's 20 minutes from Taipei City. And all of a sudden, they had a new interest in redeveloping this place, and they got money invested in here, and it became this lovely park now and district. And it's very Japanese in style as well, because there's still a lot of old Japanese buildings here. There's an old rickshaw depot here. It's very cool. So do check out my podcast on iTunes, and you'll be able to see more. I'll put it up today or tomorrow. Yeah, I know, isn't that crazy? But I'll tell you, all over Asia, there's like everything used to be a red light district, it seems. It's just insane. But thank you for joining me. Isn't this lovely? This is Beito Hot Springs District in northern Taiwan. And give me a shout out where you are. I'd love to say hi to you before I go. This is part of Yamingshan Park. So people live here. I was saying earlier that unfortunately, because of the amount of sulfur that's in the air, your appliances don't last as long here. Greetings from Israel. Well, how are you? How are you, my friend? Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Anna. Nice to see you. Take care. Anna's great, by the way. Make sure you follow her. She scopes from Moscow. She's amazing. Thank you, Paris, France. Hey, Puerto Rico. Hello. Hola. This is Beto Hot Springs, Austin, Texas. Oh, thank you. My pleasure. Love Texas. Get lots of followers in Texas, by the way. Love you guys. Houston, Dallas, Austin. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anna. Yes, please follow Anna. Anna Perna. She's wonderful. Scopes from Russia. Amazing. Did an amazing scope yesterday from Moscow and near the Red Square. It was so cool. What do I look like? Well, I am... I don't know how to... You know what? I FaceTimed... I portioned the broadcast. Just watch the replay. You can see me there, or go to my Facebook page, and my pictures are all over the internet. Wanted in several states. No, I'm just kidding. This is... look at this. This is a little school here. This is... All the kids, by the way, wear uniforms in Taiwan. Everybody wears uniforms going to school. And isn't this cute? Little class retreat here. Hey, Ohio. I'm just moving around the Thermal Valley here. It's a nice little place to watch the true activity of hot springs here in northern Taiwan. So cool. And it looks like some Taoist monks, I think, are here. Hello, UK. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining me here. Yeah, this is lovely. I was saying earlier that, you see all the houses up here and apartments. Your appliances don't last as long here. The Chinese would think it's a district or a region, but it's. Between Taiwan and China, it's basically a ceasefire. That's how I would describe it. So Taiwan has its own army and navy and air force and buys arms from the United States. So there's definitely a divide line. That's all I'll say. I don't want to get into the politics of it. But as I was saying, you look at the houses up here on the hills. Can you imagine having a view of this? It would be so cool. But your appliances aren't going to last as long. So you got to replace your fridge, your stove, all those types of things sooner, because apparently the sulfur in the air, for some reason, it deteriorates the electronics or something in the appliances, so they don't last as long here. I don't know about televisions, maybe. I have no idea. But it's a very cool district here in northern Taiwan. This is Beito Hot Springs District. Very easy train ride or MRT ride from Taipei. And by the way, I'm also on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram, FarEastAdvTravl on Instagram. Thank you. Yeah, corrosion does the same thing. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's just the trade-off. If you want to live in a place like this, it's very natural. That's the trade-off that you're going to make. But I don't think people really complain. I don't think people move here because their appliances, or move away because their appliances don't last as long. But it's a lovely setting, and lots of hot springs resorts around here. And the cool thing is, if you come here, you can rent. You don't have to stay here overnight, but you can rent a room and have your own personal hot springs. Yeah, I'm a broadcast journalist, and I focus on travel throughout Asia. So I'm based in Asia, and I write and photograph Asia and talk about Asia. I'm a radio correspondent, and also I produce a couple of podcasts called FarEastAdvTravl on iTunes. Thank you. Anything else you want to know? Let me know. I don't scope 5 times a day. I try to scope once or twice every couple of days. If I have something that I think is of value to people and it's interesting enough. And I'm also on Facebook, so you can follow me on my Facebook page, FarEastAdvTravl, and I post pictures and videos and all kinds of cool stuff all about Asia. If you love Asia, want to learn more about Asia, just follow me on Instagram and FarEastAdvTravl, the Facebook page. Would be cool. So thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you. Isn't this lovely here? This is the hot springs. It's so bloody hot here right now, I have to tell you. Really, really hot. And it's the lunch hour, so I'm getting hungry, so I'm going to have to end this broadcast soon. But I do appreciate you following me here and watching the broadcast from northern Taiwan. Taiwan is a lovely place, as I was saying before. Thanks for inviting your followers. Gitano72, thank you so much. or Gitano. I was just letting everybody know earlier that only 20% of the island is inhabitable. It's not a very big place. It's like 90 miles across and 300 miles up and down, 350 miles up and down. 23 million people live here, but only on 20% of the island. So mostly on the west coast, because the east coast is really mountainous, but most of the island is mountainous. So it's beautiful. Like the nature here is spectacular. Some of the cities aren't super pretty. There's some nice spots that aren't, but the nature here is just unbelievable. I have seen some of the most beautiful things. Hello, how are you? Thank you, Rishabh. I've seen some of the most beautiful things in nature in Taiwan. I have cycled all around the island. I've cycled on the Northern Cross Island Highway. The scenery is just out of this world. And this is Beitou Hot Springs. Yes, it is. I'm back here again. I had to come back and film because I was up here yesterday. And this is closed. This is the Thermal Valley, and this is a little kind of a nature reserve area where you can come to. It's free, and you can see the real source of the hot springs. This water is too hot to jump into, bathe into. You would probably boil yourself. You'd be like dim sum here. Definitely. So you definitely don't want to go into this water. But there's lots of places that you can go here in Beitou Hot Springs and enjoy the hot springs. It's a very lovely place. Well, it's pretty warm. Yeah, I keep walking around and walking away. But if I just hang over the water here, yeah, it's like a sauna. No, I'm not going in for sure. That's for sure. I don't want to be dim sum. Thank you. And these are looks like some Taoist monks here. So Taoism, Buddhism, folk religion are all followed here in Taiwan. It's kind of a blend. Less than 5% are Christians on the island. And there's, I think 15,000, I've seen reports of 13,000 temples, 15,000 temples in Taiwan. Thank you for sharing, and thanks for the hearts. Thank you so much. Really lovely. And this is Beitou Hot Springs District. This is the Thermal Valley, and I'm going to walk over here and give you one more perspective before I go. I'm just going to walk around this other place. This is where I started, not the broadcast, but I started when I came here myself. I want to show you this before I go. Just another perspective. The parks here are really lovely. You have to keep people happy here. There's so many of them. But you really notice in northern Taiwan, especially because of the density of population, and it's one of the most densely populated places on the planet, that on the weekends, oh my God, things are just crazy everywhere here. And if you don't have a reservation for a restaurant in the evening, good luck getting a table. Living costs compared, well, you could live as high as you want here in Taiwan, but you could rent an apartment in Taipei for $400 a month, and sometimes even a little bit less. And in other parts of Taiwan, it's quite a bit less. Taipei is the most expensive city, but generally the cost of living would be definitely lower here in Taiwan, generally speaking. Now, you can rent fancy apartments and go out for fancy dinners and all that stuff, but I will tell you, in Taipei, most people don't cook at home. They eat out because the food is reasonable, and there's so many options, and people are busy, so it's easy to go to a food stall. There's food everywhere, cooked on the street everywhere. And I can't remember, if the one estimate I heard, there might be like almost 300,000 food stalls in Taiwan altogether, the whole island, which is insane. So people love going out for dinner here, and they eat out a lot. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for joining me, Rishabh. Thank you so much. This is the Thermal Valley in Beitou Hot Springs District in Taiwan. I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching, and please do follow me on Instagram, FarEastAdvTravl, or on Facebook, FarEastAdvTravl. That would be great. I'm broadcasting live on Facebook now as well. Thank you so much. Check out my iTunes podcast, FarEastAdvTravl, or go to my website, FarEastAdvTravl.com. Thank you. 谢谢你. Bye-bye from Beitou Hot Springs District in Taiwan.